Hi everyone, welcome to Chapter 1. This is our introduction to global health and health transitions. You will find that my PowerPoints are very short, very sweet, to the point. I don't believe in regurgitating a lot of information. So with that being said, let's dive right in. Our definitions of health and global health. So the World Health Organization, which we will be talking about a lot in this class, describes health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. I think it's important to note the aspect of mental and social well-being as well as physical well-being. We're going to get into so many of these issues later on in the class, and I think this provides us a really good foundation for defining exactly what we consider to be health. Of course, global health refers to the concerns that cross all international borders. So, a few health transitions to note, and I will be really good about telling you when something's going to be on a test. This particular slide will be on a test at some point, whether it's a quiz, more likely it will be on the final exam. So knowing these health transitions that are taking place globally. So we have demographic transitions, which is the shift toward lower birth and death rates. This occurs often as a population moves from a low income to a high income economy. Then we have the epidemiologic transition. So this is a shift from infectious diseases to chronic non-communicable diseases, very much like what we're seeing in the United States. So we're not seeing such a high incidence of infectious diseases. We're seeing more of these chronic diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, cancer sort of diseases being our primary health concerns. This usually follows a demographic shift, demographic transition shift as the economic status of our population improves. Again, we can really tie this back to the United States. Then there's the fertility transition. So this is education, technology, and economic growth and other factors that reduce birth rates, and the population begins to stabilize at its larger size. I think we're again seeing that within our own country. And then finally, nutritional transition describes a population shift from a stage in which undernutrition and deficits in nutrition are more prevalent than the intermediate stage in which overweight and obesity are the dominant disorders. You'll find that I stumble over my words a lot. It's good for entertainment at least. So I think this, again, we can really apply to our own country. If we have students that are from different nationalities or cultural backgrounds, I would love to get your input on some of these transitions to see if they apply to countries other than the United States. So risk factors, I think probably all of us have heard about modifiable and behavioral risk factors. Obviously, a modifiable is one that you can change. So that falls under behavioral risk factors. So, that's things like smoking, drinking, lack of exercise, the kind of diet you eat. These are things that you can change. They're within your power to change. Then we have unmodifiable risk factors. These cannot be changed. So these are things like your age, your ethnicity, your gender. All creates a certain risk factor for particular diseases. So an unmodifiable risk factor that I have is gender, and I'm going to say age because I am 52 and I am a woman. So I have a higher risk of developing osteoporosis as a result of those two unmodifiable risk factors. So a modifiable or behavioral risk factor, I eat way too much sugar. I'll be the first to admit it. I have a sweet tooth the size of Texas, and I will eat sugar every opportunity I get. Not good. It could lead to any number of diseases like tooth decay, cavities, high blood sugar, diabetes, obesity. Yeah, they've even said some cancer can be linked to excessive sugar intake. So I hope that kind of delineates the difference between modifiable and unmodifiable risk factors. So now we're going to dive into prevention, and this is what our discussion board is going to be about this week, is the different levels of prevention. So we have primary preventions. These are just to prevent disease from happening. So things like washing your hands, getting enough sleep, getting your immunizations. Secondary preventions are with the goal to diagnose a disease at an early stage when it has not caused any significant damage and can be treated more effectively. So this would include screenings like mammograms and prostate screenings, high blood pressure screenings, cholesterol screenings. Then we have the tertiary preventions, which aim to reduce the complications in those with symptomatic disease in order to prevent death or physical disability. So one of the things that I think is a really good example as a tertiary prevention is checking for foot problems in diabetic individuals. So to kind of put this into context, a diabetic has a symptomatic disease, and what we're doing in checking for their foot problems, which is very common in diabetics, is we are trying to minimize further disability or prevent death. Believe it or not, some of these disorders can manifest quickly and move very quickly and cause death and or disability. So my own example of primary preventions, I am an avid hand washer. I'm kind of a germaphobe when it comes to colds and flu, and working with so many students, I come in contact with a lot of these illnesses that I try to avoid. So by practicing a good, strong primary prevention, such as hand washing, I'm hoping to prevent colds and flu. So that is it for the audio for the slideshow. You will find I will do this every week. In my opinion, it kind of reinforces what may be some really dry reading and can hopefully provide a little bit of real life experience. So I hope you find it useful. We'll try it out for a few weeks. If you guys hate it, then we'll take it away. If you love it, we'll keep it. This is your class, so I really welcome your feedback, and I will see you on the discussion board.